Hello, welcome back to the second community tier list, this time for October. This one has been voted on by members of the Discord and Reddit communities for Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent for the global release version. This one had a total of 530 responses, a big step up over last time's. And joining us today is there's several people from the Discord community here that are going to be here to discuss what we think about why the community voted certain units as to what they are.
Hi, my name is Smokestack. I'm a member of the Discord community.
Hi, my name is Dweem, and I will not be responding to the accusations at this time.
My name is Soulmaster, and I have no idea why I'm here.
I'm Barbecue Time. I have kind of gotten absurdly lucky, and I guess that makes me qualified in some perverse fashion.
All right, so as people can see on the screen, you can see the current results of the tier list in order from the notepad document I have linked, and as well as the tier list maker image. But we're going to first compare to what we see from last month's, as this month has added several more units to the pool, namely Tikilin, Honnet, Odette, Loomis, and Stead have been added. Looking at the tier list in order for last month, we had Viola, Lynette, Primrose, Teo, Fior, Sophia, Hasemi, Scarecrow, Tressa, Heathcote, Gilderoy, Corin, Therese, and then Millard. Now looking, if we compare the two, which you can go to the previous video on my channel to look at it directly if you want, we can see that the main three at the top have not changed. Teo and Fior remain unchanged. Scarecrow jumped up a little bit. Hasemi fell from A tier to B tier. Corin and Heathcote both fell from B tier to C tier. And those are the only major changes that happened. So looking at the tier list in order, for this month, we have Odette, Viola, Lynette, and Primrose in S tier. Teo, Fior, Scarecrow, and Sophia in A tier. Honnet, Hasemi, Tressa, Tikilin, Loomis, Gilderoy, and Eliza in B tier. And then Heathcote, Therese, Corin, and Stead, and then Millard in C tier. 20 total units for this month. Very interesting turnout for some votes, and some were to be expected. So without further ado, number 1, Odette. What needs to be said for this extreme power creep character that came early?
Well, dual element coverage, resist shreds, incredibly powerful nukes. She's kind of got it all.
I think you can count the fights that you can't bring her to on one hand.
Well,
So
so
that
far at
helps.
least. There's going to be a lot more fights that deal with fire, ice, lightning, and dark in the future. But for now, wind and light are kind of stacked.
Yeah.
Well, Odette is strong enough that even if they're not weak to wind and light, you can still bring her because she can still hit very, very hard, even off weakness. Just not in the
Unless
arena.
Absolute MVP for all of the BT weapons, really.
Very much so. One key thing about Odette is currently she made Flame's Grace and Victor's Hollow the level 100 NPCs. She alone made those two possible. They should not have been clearable for global as early as they were, even for whales. And she just made it possible.
And it's somewhat unrelated, but her Traveler story did provide us with probably one of the best emotes we've gotten.
You're welcome for that.
The kid with a knife?
Welcome.
Yeah.
That was my idea. You're welcome.
No, not that one.
Oh, you mean her emote? Yeah, that's also a good one.
Oh no, the lull emote that with the numbers just posted. No, not that one.
My name is Smoke. I'm not the numbers. Okay.
Yeah. But no, they're both good emotes. But moving on, we have the next one in S tier being Viola, the debuff queen herself. Viola is going to also have a very long life in this game, like Odette will. Uh, there is no unit better currently for debuffing your enemy, and she is currently a mainstay in every single arena team right now because you do not want arena champs hitting you hard with their full strength.
Honestly,
So
my take is that even when we get more units that can debuff, Viola will still have really good value just by virtue of being kind of a one-stop shop for debuffs, because she does every debuff, even if other units can eventually cap debuffs together. She's just really nice to plug and play, especially because she's a thief and thus has access to shield cracks.
not to mention she's
Yeah.
also like the second fastest unit in the game.
Yeah, only behind Therion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Therion is the fastest. She's the second fastest, but legitimately the best strat is when Therion comes out, you don't take all his speed nodes, so she stays faster than him.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, she is absurdly fast, like 400 and over 450 speed at a like it's insane. But yeah, she can debuff.
Absolutely a reroll target.
Yeah, she can debuff. She can 2-hit AoE crack and 2-hit single target crack. Very, 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 very useful, and is the definite S tier mainstay for a very long time.
Yeah, not to
for sure.
mention, even if she isn't really a DPS, she does have decent dagger damage as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. She can definitely hit dagger when she needs to. But I mean, her main role is to set up for other units.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
She does so much.
yep. And then eventually down the line, the only units that can sort of do her job are another thief named Sarisa, and then TT, a limited dancer. But moving on from that, we have Lynette, who will, in my opinion, potentially be the first unit to actually will pass Odette eventually when specials release. Lynette has yet to be power crept out of the game, even in JP's ridiculous standards. With the Brave fan that just released not too long ago with the Bravely Default collab, Lynette is broken, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. She is broken. She is the buffing queen. Nothing can top her buffs right now. She can self-cast buffs on everybody by herself. She has the ability to infinitely extend passive buffs like Fior's and Coda's Glove, and eventually the magic version of Coda's Glove. It's just ridiculous what she can do.
Yeah, she just has an absurd amount of utility.
And this is your friendly reminder for anyone watching this. If you ever pull a second Lynette, do not awaken her. Just make sure you know that.
She's also our strongest fire nuker right now, still, right?
Yes.
Which is kind of sad, honestly.
Yeah, fire's weak,
Kinda.
right? Fire, we big lack in fire. Cyrus and Mulu are coming soon. Don't worry, they're coming. They're coming.
TM.
They're coming soon. TM.
Yes.
But moving on from, there's not much else to say about Lynette. She's broken. Period.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Definitely another reroll target.
Oh, absolutely. No, they
She is
Viola
the
Lynette.
reroll target.
Well, yeah. When you look at reroll, if you're gonna reroll, you're looking at the top three because Odette's not available because she's limited. You're looking at the 3 and S tier as the holy trinity for rerolls. Can't go wrong. So moving on to the third of the Holy Trinity is Primrose, the other early power creep character. Because out of all the units that have come early from JP, really only Odette and Primrose are actually two that came a little too early. The other ones, which we'll discuss when we get to them, they're fine. Odette was definitely early, and Primrose is still a tad early. Primrose is in a lot of ways the dark version of Sophia, but better because she has the ability to do a 3-hit dark that can debuff dark. But the gimmick is that her nuke for dark is an AoE 2-hit that also debuffs enemy defense, which is absurd.
Yeah. One thing I will note with that is that Spellsong does have less potency than Dirge of Dusk when they're both max boosted. So even in single target situations, Dirge of Dusk will do more damage than Spellsong at max boost.
But the fact that you can still hit AoE and debuff is also just absurd.
Yeah, that part is nutty.
Yeah, so and being a dancer, Primrose also has party buffs as well. So if you're running her with Lynette, I believe Primrose can buff and cap out physical attack with her buff with Lynette.
She can cap both physical and magic.
Yeah, she can cap she can cap everything, and I believe she also has a defense buff too.
I don't remember seeing a defense buff, but that doesn't necessarily mean there isn't one.
Maybe that's Glossum, but that's next month. Either way, yeah, Primrose very, very powerful unit and a very powerful reroll target. Can sorta do good for Lynette in terms of buffing, but does not have that awesome passive, so cannot replace Lynette. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
They do have two different roles, basically.
Yeah, Prim is like the Dark Nuker.
The only Dark Nuker we really have. I mean, Stead can.
Hey,
We'll,
I
we
love
will. We will
Heinz,
get.
okay? He's
We
my
will.
boy.
Yeah. Well, Heinz. Yes, but
I've
we're
learned to
not doing four
respect
star.
Heinz.
No, Heinz is definitely really
It's a
good
man
for
will
what he
always have a
is.
place.
Well, so now that is all for S tier. Moving down to A tier, we have first up at A tier is Teo, and yeah, no, Teo is a top tier unit right now in global, and he will
Yeah.
remain top tier until basically Zegna and Alphen release. That he
And
is
Ophelia.
to a somewhat extent, yes. But basically, because even when Ophelia releases, you still have dual Harvesto, so he's still going to be usable. It's
Yeah,
just
fair.
it's just when the other ones come out, that's when he gets to take his long deserved nap. But for now, there's no one that does regen better than him, and he single handedly is the best unit to take into Tiki and Glossum. Like by himself, he's top 3.
Wait, is his region actually better than Anya's?
Yes, because he doesn't have to max boost to hit everybody.
And because it
Oh,
also
fair
gives
enough.
a wind resist buff, which is really relevant for Tiki.
Yeah, Agnes might be a little
Right.
bit more versatile, but we'll talk about her next month.
Mm.
But yeah, no, Teo has a 2-hit axe AoE, dual Harvesto. He has a 3-hit random target, which is a powerful nuke as well. He has the ability to do. He has a decent powered lightning nuke if you need a little bit of magic, but his main use has definitely got to be his regen.
Yeah.
Look no farther. If you need healing, he's your guy, except against Markin.
I'm
Did
surprised
you
he's
just
not
call
in
her
S tier.
Martin?
I am a little surprised too, but I mean, he
Maybe
is.
people are anticipating Varkin for that vote.
Yeah, maybe he is 8.81, so he was close to S tier.
Mm-hmm.
Because
But
in my mind, personally, the Holy Trinity is Viola, Teo, and Lynette. Primrose is just a replacement for one of the latter two,
I would agree.
depending on the fight.
I would probably agree, but like right now for rerolls, because like I would just say right now for rerolls, if you're rerolling right now, you're rerolling for Agnes since she's easier to get, and then you're trying to get the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's fair.
all right, so
And-
moving on from Teo, we will who's very solid as we've already explained, will be Fior. I don't think Fior's overrated. I've seen some people say she's overrated. I think she deserves to be up there in A tier because she has very powerful attacks, 3-hit sword, super powerful nuke that also debuffs, and a 2-hit AoE all in one character with very powerful passives that are very easy to maintain. That's just everything you want from a unit.
Not to mention her element attack is actually surprisingly high.
It's okay. It's nothing to
Yeah.
write home about. It's something for Glossum, but that's about it. But
It's good for her dark nuke, which, as you've said before, we're kind of lacking. So really every little bit helps.
We actually do have a pretty decent amount of dark though between Stead, Primrose, and Heinz.
we just don't have over the top amounts of dark. We don't
Yeah.
have the pure dark things, but that's going to come later with Zegna and Yinalana are going to bring the real dark DPS.
Yeah, wind is easily the most saturated element in the game at the moment.
Wind and light. No, wind and light. Light.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting light
Everywhere.
'cause all I really have for light is Idia.
Also, since Stead came out either right after or with Odette,
No,
He was
Stead and
probably-
Loomis were the week after Odette.
a week after,
Yeah.
but her banner was still live.
Yes.
So it was skipped by most people, I would say.
I did
And he's not in the general
that.
pool yet, so a lot of people haven't gotten access to him that weren't trying to get him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, Fior, very powerful and simple, easy to access passives. Just to quickly overcap, 20% physical attack up for 3 turns and 20% sword damage up whenever she's at max HP. Max HP is a very easy condition to meet in COTC with regen healing. And the 20% max physical to attack up, but while you might say, oh, well, it's only 3 turns, I will direct you to look at up there at S tier at that dancer up in S tier. That S tier dancer can keep that passive going forever.
yep,
And cap
especially with
it.
the Brave fan.
Mm-hmm. You know, the
Turning
Brave
it
fan
into a
is
30%
broken.
buff is insane.
Yeah. All right, moving on to
Yeah,
the
she
next
basically
unit.
doesn't exist without the Brave fan at this point.
I mean, Lynette was already broken without the Brave fan. The Brave fan made it even more broken.
Yeah, it made her easier to use.
Yeah. Moving on from Fior, we will move on to Scarecrow. Scarecrow, I think, is also rightfully an A tier, in my opinion. Some people try to rate him lower. I think he belongs in A tier because 4-hit bow AoE is absurd. It
Yeah.
is just an absurd move. Even late game in JP, he is still used in hunter builds that need as a breaker. He is not a damager late game, but nothing beats that 4-hit bow AoE. Not even Haunted, because Haunted is 3 to 5 random, which means there's an RNG element, which is very, very bad for trying to set up precise breaks. Whereas Crow is just consistent, 4 hits, bow, every enemy. Very good. Very good for Kate hunting early on. Also, a 4-hit wind is also very powerful. Like having 2 4 hits in one unit, that's on two different weaknesses. Yeah, he definitely
Yeah.
belongs in A tier despite lacking very powerful nukes.
And he does have damage passives, even though the crit one is kind of meh.
True.
I mean, he lacks the nukes. That's precisely why he belongs in A and not S,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, if he had a better nuke than double 30 shot, then he would absolutely be an S, I think.
Yeah, but if he gets a crit though on double 30 shot, then he can make up for
Oh,
it a
yeah.
little bit. But yeah,
True.
moving on to another unit that I absolutely believe belongs in A tier and is actually I don't think Sophia will reach S tier next month, but she will definitely jump up a little bit. I think when people realize how over the top good she is for Varkin, like she is going to carry you in Varkin because here's the deal. Even if Cyrus releases with Varkin, a lot of people, you're not going to, unless you have a whole bunch of nuts ready, you're not going to have them ready for that fight right away necessarily. And if you don't get them right away and need time to get rubies to try to pull again, you're going to use Sophia. And here's another thing too for your first clear of Arkin that without spoiling the fight. People that don't understand the fight are going to get Cyrus killed, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anymore. But
Understood,
Sophia, 3-hit single target as a nuke. Late game JP, she is still top tier for ice builds. And that is because having a nuke be multi-hit is vital. Because damage cap will get in the way late game when you have better weapons and accessories that will make it easy to hit that cap with a single target hit. That is why units like Odette, while she will always be amazing, Odette will fall off a little bit late game when damage cap starts to get in her way.
And not to mention, she's amazingly good for the first real Stonewall in the game, being Master of All.
Oh, no, Sophia just melts parties. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Sophia is the queen for Master of All because like every single boss is weak to ice because reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it, but hey, I am glad to have been able to just nuke Pardis.
Also because anyone that played Global since day one, Sophia is one of the most popular units to own because of that step up.
Yeah, along with Fior.
To temporarily scroll down, let's see. If you go by most owned units, we'll just take a quick segue. Most owned units, number 1, Viola, number 2, Fior, number 3, Lynette, number 4, Sophia. All of them have over 400. Over 400 out of 530 people said they had them at 5-star, mind you. That's 5-star.
+1 for each of those because I actually forgot to vote.
And over 400 for all of those. And if you look at if you count their 4 people that have their 4.5 only, that's another like 36 4.5 Sophia's, 45 4.5 Lynette's, 30 4.5 Fior's, and 27 4.5 Violas. That's a lot. But Viola is at a staggering 81.89% owned 5-star own rate, and Sophia's at a 76% owned rate. That's absurd.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people have her, so it's okay. That's why a lot of people are making build that's why pretty much every single Varkin guide is going to have Sophia in it. And if you don't have Sophia, ouch. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Well, also to be fair, is that there are only so many 5-stars in the game at the moment anyway. If you've been playing since global launch, there's a good chance you'll have quite a few of them.
Unless you've never pulled, yes.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
And then the last thing to say about Sophia that's very important for debuff stacking is that Sophia can hit the ice defense down debuff by herself, which is very, very important.
Right. Her Raging Ice Wind actually just decreases it all 3 times, right?
No, it's 15%. It's Raging and Wild.
Ice Wind.
Yeah, 2 different ones. They hit each do 15% to reach the 30% cap by herself.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
As long as they're two different skills, they will stack with each other.
Yep. Or
Yeah.
even a skill with the
Not
same
just
name on two
extend.
different units.
Yeah, if you have a skill with the same name on two different units, then they will also stack. You just can't use the same unit skill twice. It'll only extend the duration.
Oh, well, you learn something new every day.
Just watch Shizu. Yeah. Also, open plug here. If you're watching this, please make sure you're watching and subscribing to Shizukats because he has all the best guides in this game, like just free.
Yeah.
And he is definitely not threatening us.
Wait, free? I
Definitely
pay a
not.
subscription. What the fuck?
If you're paying for a subscription, you're doing something wrong, Dweem.
It's
You might-
called YouTube Premium.
you
Try
might
your
need it.
1 month free trial.
Did
It's
you forget?
called NordVPN, our sponsor for today's
Oh,
video.
no.
Actually, we are not sponsored.
And on this day, Dweem realized he forgot to cancel YouTube Premium. Oops. Anyway, that is all for the A tiers. Moving on to B tiers. At the top of B tier, we have Hanet. And she's a very interesting hunter. She was the very first unit to release for JP, and she was held for us because we got Tressa first. And she was also the unit that we all predicted coming with Tikulin because it was so over the top obvious that if she didn't come with Tikulin, she was dead on arrival. So yeah, she came as predicted. She is a good hunter. She isn't bad. She is the first unit in the game that has multi-weapon coverage with Lind. She is a little bit faster than Scarecrow, and she does have an actual nuking skill, which is a high power bow nuke that is a guaranteed crit. So she is able to do the bow DPS that you might be lacking with Scarecrow. However, she does have a big problem with her kit, and that problem is randomness. She has a passive that is recommended to not take because whenever you attack normally, she has a chance to just attack one more time on top of that, which is bad because before you think, oh, extra damage, well, then if you're trying to set up for a break, you might break early now because she decides to randomly attack again when you didn't want her to. So that's bad. And then her AoE skill is not a guaranteed AoE. It's a 3 to 5 hit AoE instead of just set 4 like Crow's. So you might get 3 hits, you might get 4 hits, you might get 5 hits. Well, what if you only needed 3 or 4 to set up for 1 or 2 shields, which is usually your target for a thief to break, right? Well, she did 5 hits, now they're broken early. Oops.
And then you don't even actually get the proper turns of damage.
Exactly. So Haunted is a good unit. Absolutely deserves to be in B tier, but I don't think she is an A tier unit because of the randomness. I think that is enough to lower her, in my opinion.
I think
Yeah.
next week she becomes an A tier unit, but for right now, all the content we have, she's just
I
okay.
disagree. Absolute top tier waifu. It's a crime she's not S tier.
Oh,
Well, it's a good thing that
I will have to disagree with you there.
well, it is a good thing that this tier list is based off meta and not how they look in
Come
their
in,
appearance.
letting my arrow fly in true.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and that is the thing about
matter-
that is the thing about Hana. You either love the way she speaks or you hate it. There is no in between.
I
That
am
is fair.
firmly on the side of hate.
I actually hated it at first, but it very quickly grew on me.
You know,
But officer,
I will
how
say
can it
there
be
is
hate crime if I love doing it?
I will say
I'm a-
one thing though.
no,
There is
fair.
she is not speaking in like old English or anything like that like some people think. They actually the devs completely invented that way of speaking. And actually and here's
Yeah,
another
it's
thing
a
too.
regional dialect.
And that is a regional thing only too. That is an English speaking way only. In JP she doesn't speak like that. That is a translation thing only.
I like it a lot better though, because usually the way that they translate Japanese dialects is just giving them a southern accent, and I'm really fucking tired of that. So I'll go with the yield English kind of mood instead.
Yeah.
Well, I will give them props for it being unique. Like they actually took the
Yeah.
time to come up with a unique way of speaking for her and Zonta. So
That's my
I will give
MGO
them that.
Hokusai moment.
All right, so moving on to a unit that fell from A tier, Hasumi. And I do disagree with her falling to B tier. I think Hasumi is a low A tier character. And the reason why is when she showed up in JP, she was kind of because of how late she came. Like she had that SP buff and that's about it. But her showing up now in Global gave her a really good breath of life. She basically replaced Millard. She can outdamage Millard and heal the same as him, and has multiple multi-hit options with a 3-hit light and a 3-hit fan. And she can do And she has that really amazing passive, that really amazing SP buff that she can give to everybody, which is a very,
I
very
just love
useful
that
ability.
SP region.
SP
Not
region
that
is
I have
really
her.
good. No, it's really good. And then if you dip into the dark side a little bit, she also has one of the better A4s in the game.
God.
Well, her
I
A4,
would
her
honestly argue she
A4,
should at least be.
yeah, no, I would agree she'd be A tier. Her A4, for people
Yeah.
wondering, is basically the Brave fan on an accessory, so it's like busted. So yeah, that's really good. You could have the Brave fan on Lynette and then give her A4 to somebody else that also does buffs, and then you're just broken. Like, anyway, yeah, Hasumi is a very good unit. I do agree. And I think she should be a little higher in my opinion, but there you go. Moving on is Tressa, our first unit that Global got, and one of the more popular units in the game because her popularity from the original Octopath. Please keep your expectation, but please keep your waifus at a minimum. She is underage in COTC, so keep that in mind.
Yep.
Best girl.
I will personally hunt down every single person who calls Tressa a waifu here.
Yes, please keep in
I'll
mind
put
that
a little sister.
keep in mind that in the original game it's okay. She is 18. In this game, she is not 18. Please keep that in mind. Tressa is very powerful as a spear unit. She is able to tank, but I would classify her more as the damage types merchant more than the tanking type merchant. Because if it's not physical based attacks that she can sidestep, then she is more about doing the damage. And that is perfectly fine.
She makes Glossum look like a fool, though.
30k, you just do 30k damage on a break to him. Why not?
While just having 7 stacks of sidestep up.
And
if you need
there's
it,
the obvious usefulness of her Swift Trifold Thrust being a
Yes.
priority skill.
Swift Trifold is a very silly skill.
high damage and priority, so you could use her to break and then do super nukes. It's great.
Mm-hmm. It's such a good
Already gets
ability
hates.
overall.
Well, it's very important for her to have that a priority move because her passive that halves her SP cost, which her SP costs are really high if she's at full HP, means that
If she's
she
not at
wants
full
to go
HP.
first. She needs to go first because a lot of times when she uses her normal moves, she goes last because merchants are slow.
Yep.
The only thing that I think would make her really, really good is if her taunt was also a priority.
No, that's
Well,
fine. That's not a normal
the
thing.
thing
That's a
is-
future unit. That's a future unit.
You can
Well-
have her in the back and then taunt that way, so it's guaranteed to be at at half cost.
That is also that is a gimmick to that. All
Yeah,
right, but
because she can essentially take double turns by doing something and then doing Swift Trifold, which I think is really fun.
all right. But now moving on, we're going to move on to a unit that I think is criminally underrated. Tiki Lin is way better than where she's at. And I will stand by that. But as you will see
Yep.
on screen in the middle, I will highlight it here. Tiki Lin is at 243 owned out of 530 as of this recording and this thing. That means the current global turning clear rate on average is about 50%, which is actually surprisingly low.
I will say I have heard a few people mention that they chose Do Not Own for Tikilin because they haven't had a chance to use her yet, myself included. So that might be a little bit of an underrepresentation.
You're the only person that said that, but
I because one or two other people said that they had when I talked to them.
There might be also an overrepresentation because usually the people that are in Discords and on Reddit
That's
are
true.
a little bit more hardcore than
Survivorship bias.
Like
It's true.
little Timmy, who is just playing this as his first gotcha game, probably hasn't even gotten to Tikilin, for instance.
But I will say this: late game, Tiki Lin will definitely be an A tier character because when fortune weapons come out, when you can make her a full magic build with a weapon that gives her full magic, her 4-hit wind nuke will outdamage Odette, and that is not a cap. That is actually true. Because being a multi-hit means she doesn't have to worry about damage cap. At least not for a long time.
And then there's, the thing that's just criminally undermentioned is the fact that she's free.
That is
Mhm.
that as well. That is also another
Yeah,
reason
she
she's
is
good.
a free 5-star.
She's
A
also
free 5-star in a game like this is kind of enormous.
Yeah, but she's also out of all the arena champs, she's actually, despite being the first arena champ, she's actually one of the better ones. That's actually true. I think she's like top 3 of all 8, if I'm not mistaken.
I know it's her and Varkin are pretty good, right?
Barkin is situational. She's just really good at hitting wind. Let's see, she's really good. Gertrude is extremely strong. And I'm not sure after that. I know Gertrude's also really good because she hits axe just super hard. But yeah, no, Tikilin has a 4-hit wind that is really very powerful. It's actually more powerful than her single target nuke at max boost. A little fun fact there for people. A lot of people don't know that. So hopefully next month we'll see a lot higher of a clear rate for Tikilin. And also, I think also her rating might be a little bit lower just because of the fact that a lot of people don't have her accessory because they didn't want to refight her, and her accessory makes her a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps that Hanet's in the general pool now.
Fair enough. All right,
If
so
only we had Gnar for another guaranteed crit.
yeah, where the hell are our 4-stars anyway? Where's Lolo?
Score, give us the 4 stars.
Where's Paula, the SP backpack? But moving on, next up on our list after Tikilin, and literally at 0.01 point below Tikilin, is the second 5-star apothecary to release, Loomis, formerly known as Leumis in JP. They apparently dropped the Y and just called her Loomis in this game. Loomis is a former mercenary turned healer from her story, and she is a more physical-based apothecary. She does have some healing, but she kind of has the crappy version of the regen instead of the good regen. So you're not really using her to heal as much, or you're just using her to just smack axe weakness, because she comes packing with a 4-hit axe and a 3-hit single target. She does have some wind skills, but they're not really super notable. She is very good for Glossum. After that, she will probably fall off, so she's probably a decent B tier unit, and maybe will go a little bit lower over time. Nothing bad, not a bad pickup to have, but middle of the pack. And if there's nothing else to say about Loomis, we will move on to Gilderoy, and we're just gonna let the Gilderoy expert explain him.
He sucks.
Damn.
Yeah, but outside of he
Everyone
sucks,
say.
what is he good for though? As the pure defense tank, he is the face tank of the game right now.
He's pretty good for the level 100 NPCs. That's about it, really.
He is the sacrificial lamb, essentially. Except he doesn't fucking die when you jam the ritual knife into his throat.
Bring him in to die, but he refuses to.
Well, he does
was
have
defeated, but he can't fall here.
he does have an absurdly high
but it
HP
refused.
value.
Local man literally too angry to die.
Yeah.
But if you need a very powerful face tank, Gilderoy can take a beating for you. That's for sure. His DPS is okay. He doesn't have any good multi hits, just a 2-hit spear. But he does have a powerful nuke that does heal himself, so that does help keep him alive if you do need him to tank.
Honestly, my take is that I just like Tressa as a tank better because Hang Tough is a really good passive, and I like that her taunt comes with an attack buff for the party along with Swift Trifold having priority.
Yeah, Gilderoy is a selfish tank. He buffs himself, and his goal is just to stay alive for the party. He just takes hits. So it is
Yep.
good, and it is good for what it is.
For
And
me,
there-
Tressa basically just gets an edge by virtue of being first. She was
Well-
the one I re-rolled for, so.
Hey yo,
A lot of-
fellow Tressa reroller, let's go.
Tressa truck.
moving
GG.
on, we will go
Tressa truck
to
game.
another unit which is currently overall is underrated, but right now doesn't have as much use because that's why she's only at a low B tier. Eliza's definitely going to shoot up in the rank a bit when Cyrus comes out because that is her job, is being Cyrus's cheerleader.
Second best waifu, crime she's not, S tier.
Eliza
Yeah.
is the magic backpack of the game for a long time. There are other ones that come out, but for now, she is the best one at it for now.
I personally think she should be higher just because of Odette, honestly. Because even if she's supposed to be Cyrus's backpack, we still already have Odette.
Well, you can, yeah. The joke is that she's Cyrus's cheerleader, but you can use her as a magic backpack for anybody. Like, if you don't have Cyrus, you can throw. She's a very, very good unit to have for against Varkin because she has the ability to buff Sophia by being behind her. She has sword attacks for nuking Varkin, and her sword nuke, while not super strong, also debuffs magic attack, so she can cap Viola's anti attack on Varkin, which is very good. And then she
And
also
she's
has
another character with a. Oh, sorry.
and she also has a heal for being a warrior,
Yeah.
which is a very good thing to have because it has a very high heal strength to make up for her lower magic stats. So she can heal very effectively as a warrior, which right
I was
now,
just about to say that.
which global right now, we do not have the job towers. When the job towers come out, Eliza is top tier for the warrior job tower because warriors and healing generally don't mix very well. So Eliza will be there to keep your warriors alive in the job tower. And she does have very powerful light skills as well.
And being now in the general pool, it's probably going to be a lot more likely for people to have her in the next tier list.
Yeah, she's in the general pool now, so yes, I think Eliza I would agree she was not worth pulling for actively on her banner, but she is a top tier off banner pickup, 100%. Like, without a doubt.
In the next tier, when, with more general
Yeah,
ownership,
she is the least owned unit.
She'd probably jump up to A tier.
Yeah, I will say on this list, she is also the least owned unit with only 52 owned units of 5-star, a 9.81% owned rate. So that is also why she's not rated super high.
I tried so hard.
She will definitely get better.
Far.
A very important thing to note is that she will also be the same as Tikilin. As late game, she will shoot up in terms of damaging abilities as well with Fortune weapons come out, because she does have a really solid passive, being a 30% light damage up passive. So she becomes a very powerful light nuker later in the game as well. So just keep that in mind.
3-hit light single target, 2-hit light AoE.
Yeah, she has the same skills as Odette in that regard, except that she has a lot of the same skills as Odette.
Yeah.
Moving on, we are now done with B tier, so we're going to move on to the current bottom tier, because there are no D tiers yet. Lytle's not here yet. Sorry, guys. C tier. The top of C tier. The top of C tier is a unit that fell from B tier, which I can see why, is Heathcote. Heathcote's just not that strong. Let's just be realistic. He's fast. He's a thief. He does have triple burst. But outside his triple burst and his nuke, which is priority, which is useful for Kate hunting, but it is not useful for general nuking, I can see where he's at, and it makes sense to me. His niche is quickly running out whenever we get to the point. In a couple months in global, when we get the elite Kates, and you don't ever need the Kate farm, and when we get the level 60 boss master refights, and you don't ever need to Kate farm again, Heathcote will have almost no use. So sadly, I can see him just continuing to go down.
I rated him super high this month just because he literally made my roster go from a bunch of like level 82s to a bunch of 95s.
Yes, I can see that. But I'm just saying, as you can probably attest, he probably will definitely fall even more in the future.
He is definitely a fan favorite, though.
Just use
Kind of unfortunate that he falls
best
off so quickly, though.
farmer.
He does have a good niche, though.
I mean, he'll still be our best EXP juicer for February-ish?
At least,
At
at least.
until whenever Prom
For a
comes
good
out,
few months, at
he'll be-
least.
Prom and or Wrath. Because Wrath also does really good at Kate hunting, if you're still needing to do that. All right, moving on.
I think it's the current top tier Kate is weak to spear anyway, right? So Tressa kind of.
No, they're not weak to spear. They're not weak to spear.
Oh, they're not.
Aw.
Oh, my bad.
in JP or global?
In global, the chubbies and koi chubbies are not weak to spear. Otherwise, nobody would be using Heathcote. They'd all be using Tressa because it'd be so easy.
True.
All right,
My
moving
bad.
on to the next character in C tier, who moved up a little bit, is Therese. A lot of people try to compare Therese to Sophia, calling her the Lightning Sophia, and that's not exactly true. Because while Therese does have some good multi-hit lightnings, including a 3-hit lightning AoE, her potencies are awful.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have the amazing debuff skill that Sophia has. She does have a lightning resist down skill that's 20% instead of 15%, but it's a single hit book attack, which is just so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's anything else to say about Therese. Like she's good for lightning DPS because there really isn't much of it right now, but that's
She's
about
still
it.
just overall kind of weak.
She makes the adventurer in the Bravely Default Bravely Default collab really fun. So she finally got some
Yeah.
use for me.
She is one of the best characters for level 100 adventure by far.
That is true, yeah, because she can do the 3-hit lightning AoE that'll help shield crack and hurt the fox at the same time. That is very true.
Also,
But
cover doesn't help versus the AoEs that you can do.
no,
Interesting.
cover does, but we're talking about you do that before the fox covers.
I see.
Because
I
you're
see.
hurting the fox and breaking shields at the same time, which is very powerful. But yeah, I think we are moving on to who I think is the biggest fall on this list is Corrin. Corrin fell the furthest, I believe, out of any unit. And I can understand why. Corrin, also commonly known, well, maybe not commonly known, but I've seen many people call him the potato. He is very strong. He can hit harder than Fior, and that is not if you buff him up. If you give him the same buffs, and he has a passive thing like with Coda's Glove to match Fior's passive, he will outdamage Fior 100% of the time because he does have a very unique thing to him that when he gets leveled up higher, all his skills get buffed in potency versus getting SP reduction. That is very, very good, except for one major flaw. He is a warrior that does not have a lot of SP. He burns SP like nothing else, and then he is useless. So you
I would argue he like a worse time with his SP than even Idia does.
oh, by far.
Yeah. Sacred weapons
As
kind of help
he-
with that, but not much.
He has a very slightly higher SP pool than her, but
His
God
skills
But
knows
he
cost
also
so
wants
much.
to spam his stuff more than her, so.
His skills cost so much more, and he gets
Yeah.
no SP reduction. They get more powerful, sure. And he also has a very good passive for getting extra damage if the enemy hasn't acted yet, which does count on break turns because they don't get to act. So yes, Corrin
Right.
is the strongest warrior in the game, but he is rightfully, in my opinion, is in C tier due to the fact that he just burns through SP and then he is just useless until you can regen it. And because his SP
I'm not. Sorry.
and because his SP pool is so small, it takes several turns to regen enough in order to use one skill.
It's definitely fitting that he was released with Hasumi
Yep.
for kind of that very reason.
Well, it is a good
I'm
thing, as I
just-
said, that he came early with Hasumi because it gave him life in Global, that he actually got some use in Global by coming early. Because when he came in JP, he was close to being dead on arrival.
I'm just not sure how effective the single target that does more damage if the enemy has 10 plus shields is, because you don't really want him for that, do you?
It's a really weird skill that does more damage if they like have shields. It's like a really weird skill because it's like that's not what you want. It's
I guess
it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could see it having some niche use, like if you just barely don't manage to kill the boss in a break phase, and they regen all their shields, you got that one last little ace in the hole, but I would never rely on that.
Yep. But moving on from Corrin, we will go on to Stead. I think Stead should be in B tier personally. I think it's just from lack of people. From what I can tell, I think people put him in C tier because he does have good dark damage, but his passives are really hard to maintain because it requires someone to be bleeding. So I will say that's kind of a negative. Doesn't have the best healing, but he does have decent other moves, so I would see him being a low B tier character. Makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I could see him between Tiki and Loomis, honestly.
I mean,
Even though his passive is almost impossible to actually use.
well, I mean, he goes what I mean, he does have a good combo with Scarecrow because Scarecrow has a bleed skill that's decently reliable. But
Yeah, but out of the fights we have so far, when are you using both Dark and Bow?
currently, not
Not
very
to say that,
often. Currently,
not to
not
say that
yet.
there won't be fights.
Well, you have to also understand that he does combo well with Loomis too. Loomis has a low chance to bleed on her wind attack, so there is that. But I don't know if that's worth using necessarily. I
Yeah,
mean,
Wind and Dark isn't really a popular combo in the game yet either.
yeah. Eh, I mean, he's there. He can heal decently. He has a half regen, half heal as well. So I mean, he exists. He might get more content later. If we're rating him off as an actual character, his story is really bonkers and he's a really funny unit. So I mean, he'd be higher in terms of that. But
And
I
via
can see where
Cotc.
I can see that why he's rated low.
Yeah, I do think he should be higher though, because even without his passive, he does hit like a truck.
Yeah. But moving on to the final spot on our list, and what I like to call currently Millard tier, which spoiler alert, Millard will not be the last character for long. When some of the other fire stars come out, he will be rated a little bit better. Believe it or not. But yeah,
And also
Millard.
with the upcoming fight.
Yeah, well, Millard's decent. I mean, if you need a burst heal, no one's better, and that's a fact. No one's better at burst healing than him. There is one major flaw with Millard, and it's really, really, really limiting to him. No multi hits at all. He can't break. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Kind of kills his viability in a lot of fights because he's there for the pure heals and that's basically it. Like I can see if you have the single tank having the defense and M defense buff is helpful, but
His is only magic
yeah.
defense. His is only magic defense, not physical.
No, it says defense and M defense in the
He has a single
That's a
target
single
one, but
target,
his
not the
AoE
AoE.
is
Yeah, the
magic.
AoE is
yeah, I was
magic
talking
only.
about the single target one.
Yeah, but single target.
Oh,
Yeah, but you
oops,
really
my
don't
bad.
use single target buffs as much.
If you use it on your tank is what I'm saying. That's
I mean, maybe.
that's why I was saying it's still niche, even then. You'd basically just be better off with an AoE buff if you got one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
Even though he's not like super versatile or like, you know, you don't want to bring him to comps. I'm sure that most people that have him bring him to every single fight. So I'm actually surprised that he's not at least a B, just because of how much use he gets right now.
I can see his 3-star passive being surprisingly helpful because 3% of damage taken is converted into SP. That can be really good.
He never runs out of SP in those
Yeah,
fights, so yeah, it's pretty good.
if he takes damage. I mean, it's
Right.
just the main thing that kills him is no multi hits, and the reason why he's rated so low is because people do kind of spoil themselves when they look to the future and they just know he has zero use. Because like for example, when Hasumi came out, as soon as you get her, you don't need Millard anymore. She can do his job, but better. For
I'd
example,
still use both of them.
Ooh,
well,
they
no,
both have
both.
capes, actually. You're right.
I can't. Because I can't full heal without boosting on Hasumi because I want to boost her SP regen or like her
Well, I mean,
or her
Her
attacks.
passive,
Whereas
her
with Millard,
passive.
I can just click the funny green button and everyone's full healed. I don't have to boost or anything.
You don't really need to boost Hasumi's either once she's leveled up because she has higher magic than Millard by 6. She has like over 50 higher magic than Millard.
What's the point?
basically once
Is
you
there
get
like
Agnes,
130 versus
Millard is just
240?
benched.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, and the main thing too is that his light AoE is his strongest attack, and it's only 180 power at base. So that's also kind of sad that he just doesn't even
Oof.
have that much damage either. So it
Poor
makes
Millard.
sense that he's at the bottom. I will say though, he is not the worst 5-star in the game. There are other ones that come out after him that are even worse. Believe it or not. There are.
Rip Lionel.
Yeah, no, yeah. Spoiler alert: Lionel's the worst 5-star in the game, but But yeah, moving that is at the bottom of our current tier list, which is understandable for it to be him. If only it wasn't. But unfortunately, that is 2 months in a row where Millard is in the worst spot.
Well,
Come home soon, Lionel, just so you can replace him.
All right. Well, and in conclusion, you can see this tier list here. If we want to go ahead and quickly talk about the most owned units. So we got in most owned, we got in order Viola, Fior, Lynette, Sophia, Teo, Millard, Scarecrow, Gilderoy, Tressa, Odette, Tikilin, Primrose, Heathcote, Therese, Corin, Honnet, Loomis, Hasemi, Stead, and then Eliza in last.
I'm honestly surprised Tressa isn't more, commonly owned, considering she was the launch unit for us.
Well, she was launch unit, but she wasn't in the general pool right away. So all the original 8 are going to be owned more than her.
True.
But Tressa, yeah, over 50% of the people said they had her as 5-star, and including another 48 and 4-star. If we want to look at the 4-star winner, the number one unit of the most 4.5s is currently Gilderoy with 49 4.5s, with Tressa at 48.
Wow.
And going all the way down to Eliza having the fewest 4.5s, with only one person saying they had her at 4.5. A
Oh, just like
whopping
her.
0.19% 4.5% rate. And then moving down, we have a meme question and then a serious question. The meme question was, will Global get a break from accelerated units? No. No was number one, followed by Suffer, then Perish, and then a few people actually said yes. And you people were lying to yourself. Don't act like you weren't.
Zam.
And then the final thing of contention that's very interesting is top units saving for. To nobody's surprise, number one is Cyrus. I think everybody saw that coming, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Number
Roxas, you
two,
betrayed the Cyrus savers. I just want to put that out there. You were once a devoted simp.
I
Now
was
you've changed your ways.
I was devoted until I realized how accelerated Global was and how big of a mistake it would be to dump for a general pool, considering how easy it is to get them later. I didn't know that there was going to be 2 step-ups for him and an OG selector ticket.
Hey man, my day ones have problems, okay, but I love them all the same.
I love Cyrus, but I have to be realistic. This is a gotcha. I can't go full send on Cyrus or Therian like I want to.
Cyrus was my start in the original Octopath, so I mean, I have a little bit more of a reason to go for him, and I'm still not going for him.
It's a tough one. He's a very good unit, and I know why. The real reason why he's number one on the list is because everyone's been hyping him up to be this broken, overpowered unit since day one, which has never been the case. So that just keep that in mind. He is a very, very versatile and very strong unit, but he is not broken and overpowered. If you are struggling in this game, he is not going to single-handedly save you. Just keep that in mind.
Well, if you're struggling through MLA, he might. Because
okay, ice. But I'm talking about like other content. Like for example, are you struggling with Tikilin and Glossum? Cyrus isn't helping you there.
Definitely not.
He'll help you for Varkin and he'll help you with Lido, my bad. But that's it.
He gives me talks
Helps
outside
with
of the
Richard.
arena fight and preps me and gets me ready mentally for them. Okay.
Exactly. He
really
gives you a
good
lecture.
for
He gives you a
that-
lecture.
Yeah. He gives me
He
hope.
can be really good for that point where you really just need to farm a bunch of stuff, like not boss fight stuff. But again, just about any units can do those.
Yep.
I mean, hell, my Millard does the Cathedral of Tydos stuff. I just max boost luminescence, and whoops, there's 3 hours of materials.
There's and then for number two on the list, to no one's surprise, was the Near collab by a significant margin. It's near. What else is there to say? People go nuts for that game series. It's Square Enix's cash cow, and literally every gacha that they put a near collab in, they just make money from it. That's just how it works.
And hell, they had
Give
the
me
near collab
8K,
to
damn it.
FF14.
Yeah, it made a money. It's near is their cash cow. It near exists, they make money. That's just how it works.
Which is crazy because I think Yoko Taro's first like 4 games for them lost money. So the fact that Nier Automata came out swinging so hard in the mainstream gaming
Are you
sphere
talking
is
about
really
the
cool.
3 Draken Guards and Nier
Yeah.
Replicant?
Yeah.
Or Nier
It's
Gestalt.
because the
I should
first
say.
4 games lost him so much money that he went so batshit insane that he became one of the best developers out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you've played Dragon Guard 1, he was insane from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I mean, with the whole ending of that game being you literally go to fucking Tokyo to fight this monster in a rhythm game and then got shot down by a fighter jet.
I mean, Square Enix has been known for hiring and maintaining crazy people that write their games. I mean, do you really need to look further than crazy Nomura himself?
Yeah.
I mean, the dude literally wrote the entire Kingdom Hearts storyline to be the most convoluted, crazy mess ever that somehow actually made sense at the end. Like, I don't know how you do that, but he did it. So, yeah. And now he's writing the Final Fantasy VII remake just to screw with everyone's minds. All the theories out there. Is Aerith gonna die? Is Aerith gonna die this time? Spoiler: yes. Here's the thing about that. She's going to die again, and Nomura's gonna make it hurt more. Don't ask me how, but it's going to hurt more. You thought it hurt the first time. You guys aren't
Also,
ready.
Yeah,
I know you're
it's
based
going to
because
be
you called her
basically the
Eris.
same thing, but with better graphics.
Yeah. I think it's going to hurt more this time, not even just from a narrative standpoint, but because they made her actually really fucking good mechanically. It's like she's in
Not to
your
mention they
party pretty much the
expanded on her
entire
character
time
quite a
because
bit.
you want to use her.
No, the thing about it this time is you know what? The current one of the leading theories about Final Fantasy VII Remake is that Aerith and Sephiroth are actually back in time from Advent Children, and that's why Sephiroth is specifically screwing with Cloud because it's fun, and Aerith has also told Cloud, "Hey, don't fall in love with me because I know how this ends." Like she knows she has to die because you don't break the timeline because that's like remember when Barrett well spoilers but like remember when like Barrett died at the end, how he just got brought back to life by the wisps because he wasn't supposed to die.
Hey,
Oh,
dude,
stuff like that.
I still haven't played it
So,
yet. The fuck?
back to Nier collab. A2 is a
Yeah,
really strong
sorry.
unit and also best waifu, and so I
Damn
assume
right.
that's where most people are hoarding their collab
Yeah.
gems for.
2B is
I'm
very
just
good.
waiting.
9S is for if you are playing the game when Nier Collab comes out, you will get 9S for free. Otherwise he is not, but he is a limited time free. He is not Elvis free. Just keep that in mind. 2B is a very strong warrior that has the ability to heal off critical hits, which is okay, but it's not super amazing. It's just strong sword damage, but that's kind of a dime a dozen. So, but the real winner of the A2 collab is the A2. It's basically the A2 collab, not the Nier collab. To be real, like Dweem said,
Yeah.
it's A2. I mean, that's all you need to know. It's you get if you like Nier, you get A2. You press the funny win button. After Nier would be the Memory Travelers, which include all the characters from this game, which include characters like Rondo and Auron, Richard, and characters like that. For the memes, I separated Rinyu from Memory Travelers, and Rinyu got number 7 all on her own, which is pretty funny. Next month, she will be comboed with the Memory Travelers. Memory Travelers also include characters like Bargello and Sonya now, who are absolutely broken.
$10 says they'll be number 1 on their own.
Oh no, Bargello is already considered is already rated like the best character in the game according to Game 8. I'm not even capping. He is. Following the Memory Travelers are the Memory Bosses, which includes
Spoilers.
includes Marvelous, Titos and Herminia, and big titty waifu Panther Goddess.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yes.
Tatlock's actually a really
Shit.
good dancer.
Tatlock is a memory
Wait,
champion.
she's actually in the game already? I must have missed that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in JP.
Yeah, I mean, on the list. I didn't even see it.
Yeah, you got to scroll down to the bottom.
Shit, I don't know how to feel about that.
Also, JP is going to be getting Pardis, I think, in like next week or the week after that, and Pardis will
hope.
be a memory champion as well. So keep that in mind. After the memory bosses would be the next set of limiteds, which would be the recurring limiteds. That includes characters like TT, Zegna, and Leon. Recurring limiteds are generally characters that were NPCs in the original Octopath game that are now units here. That is a very common trend. Not all limiteds were NPCs in the game, unless I somehow don't remember TT and Zegna in the original game. But a lot of them are. So that is and they are very powerful units as well. So that's why they're very highly rated for top saving. And then we have a couple more OGs. Ophelia, very powerful unit. Then we have the Triangle Strategy collab and Alphen are both tied. Then Therian, and then Ulberich in last.
Oh, poor Ulberich.
I mean, he's like the worst OG. He just hits sword hard. That's all he does.
I mean, he still does his job well. It's just there are others that do their job better.
Pretty much. But other than that, that's unless there's any other final thoughts, there's the community tier list and full discussion with plenty of random bullshit thrown in on the side because why not?
Hmm.
It's kind of fun that
I mean,
way.
this podcast.
For anyone that made it this far in the video, thank you. And I will say that if you were watching this currently when it first came out, the November tier list will be releasing shortly after Varkin releases on November 2nd. Probably a few days after that on Friday or Saturday to get people a little bit of time to chew on Varkin and see what units are good for him, and that might affect your opinions on voting on the next one. As I said, the next tier list will include all the current units with the addition of Elvis, Adele, Adea, Agnes, and Cardona being added. It will not include Varkin, and it will not include the unit that releases with Varkin. The tier list will be posted here in Shizukat's Discord server for COTC and on both of the subreddits for COTC as well. And otherwise, I look forward to hopefully seeing everyone vote again and give their opinions as we continue getting good data and as we will be able to see how the meta actively shifts month by month in the global version of COTC. Thank you all for watching, and thank everyone that wanted to discuss, and I hope we'll see everybody next month. Otherwise, goodbye.
Peace.
Bye.
I'm pooping.
And also it's 10 o'clock at night, so go the fuck to sleep.
No.